Hello, Sandra. Welcome to your personal financial forecast. You were born on the 31st of March 1980 at 11:30 a.m. And this is what your Chinese astrology chart looks like. I use the Bazi system, which is the oldest system in the world for forecasting finance. And this system exists several centuries before Christ, and to this day it remains the best system to forecast finance particularly. So it's called Bazi, and if you ever want to check what is going on in the sky in Chinese astrology, you just come here to this website chinesemetasoft.com, and then you can create a profile. If you create a free profile, you can type your date of birth here and it will give you this chart. Or if you don't create a profile, it will give you the days for the relevant day. If you don't have a profile, if you just click on Bazi, it will give you the current year, the current month, the current day, and the current time. So what the chart looks like, we have several columns. We call it the 4 pillars of destiny. And these are the yearly pillar, the monthly pillar, the daily pillar, and the hourly pillar. And also we have several rows. So we have a top row here, which they call stem. The full name for that is heavenly stem. And then we have a middle row here, which is called a branch, or the full name for that is an earthly branch. And then we have a lower row here, which is called hidden stems. So what we have here on the top is elements. What we have here on the middle row is the Chinese zodiac. Most people know the 12 animals in the Chinese zodiac. And then what we have here in the hidden stems explain what the Chinese zodiac is made of, what these animals are made of. Every single animal is made of an element, one element or 3 elements, or sometimes 2 elements. So here, for example, is telling us that the rabbit is made of wood, the monkey is made of earth, metal, and water. The horse is made of fire and earth. So what you can see here is that there is a lot of color coding going on. And that is because every single animal in the Chinese zodiac has its own element. So first it is made of elements, and on the other hand it has its own element. So on a yearly pillar, you're a metal monkey. On a monthly pillar, you are a earth rabbit. On a daily pillar, you are a water rabbit. And on an hourly pillar, you are an earth horse. In this package, we cover the yearly pillar and the monthly pillar. I provide a bit of information for the daily pillar as well to make the package complete. However, in this package we don't focus on daily time frames. We focus on yearly time frames and monthly time frames in this package. And then there is another package after that, which is part 2, and that package covers the daily time frames. However, in this package we cover a lot of the day pillar, because the day pillar is you. The day pillar is the person, the monthly pillar is the career, and the yearly pillar is the family and the ancestors, and also you. So every single one of these animals, the monkey, and then you have 2 rabbits here on the monthly pillar and the daily pillar, and then you have a horse on the hourly pillar. Every single one of them has its own element, and you can guess the element just by looking at the color. So green stands for wood element. This gray silver color stands for metal element. The monkey is a metal element without even looking here at the top. Just the monkey herself is a metal element. And then the horse is a fire element. So the color coding always gives us the element. But also you read here as well with small letters the element is given: wood, wood, and then metal, and then fire. And then in Chinese astrology, in the Bazi system, we have the top row here is made of elements only. They don't have animals here on the top row. So the way it goes is that on the yearly pillar you get a metal, on the monthly pillar you get earth, and on the daily pillar you get water. In total there are 5 elements in the Bazi system, and these water, earth, metal, wood, fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have some of the 5 elements in your chart, which is very good. It's good to have all the elements in your chart. It's not good to have elements missing from the chart. And then we make an assessment here. The first thing that we need to assess is how much fire there is in the chart. So there is some fire here. However, you have only 9% fire in your chart. And in Chinese astrology, if we want to assess how much money a person will be making, we check immediately how much fire the person has, because the amount of fire that we find in the chart gives us the drive of the person, how much the person is driven and inspired, and how much they believe in themselves to go and make money in their life. And in your case, this is just the most simple rule, rule number 1. In your case, you have a very small percentage of fire, only 9%. But that is one thing that we do in Chinese astrology. We do an assessment, right? So the first thing we do is the assessment, and then the next thing we do, we make a plan with all the remedies. We give the remedies to the client that the client needs to do in order to increase the fire element in their chart so they can make more money. And then we cover the strategies, how that will happen. So there are 3 ways for you to bring more fire in your life. Number 1 is wait for the right time frame to come, because these elements, they're alternating all the time. They're not fixed. They're only fixed in the natal chart. The next day it will be a different element here, and the next day will be a different element here, etc., etc. So now that we have established that you need more fire in your chart, because you have only 9% fire in your chart, the first thing that we can do is just wait for the fire cycle. And the cycle comes on a yearly time frame, on a monthly time frame, and on a daily time frame. So the fastest cycle that will come will be on a daily time frame, then on a monthly time frame, and to wait for a yearly time frame fire, you will have to wait a bit longer, but it will come. So that's the first thing we do. We wait for the cycles. And then the second thing we do, each one of these animals have an element. So you get involved with those people as well. So not only the cycles, but you get involved with fire people. Fire people will be bringing money to you. People who have in their natal charts fire here in these places, right? They will be bringing the money to you. And the third thing that we do, we find out what remedies you need to take in Feng Shui remedies that will increase the fire element in your chart. So this is the most simple assessment that we make in the beginning, and then I will show you some other rules that we need to look at in the chart in order to find out what is the capacity of the person to make money. Fire represents internal happiness, joy, inspiration, willingness to take risks, all of these qualities that are needed for a person to do their business, to start a business, to run a business, to take risks, and to grow and to have the dynamics. Fire is also energy, so the person needs to be dynamic in order to go out in the world and make all of these big moves in order to make money, right? So we established that in terms of inspiration and all of this ambition and drive, you're short of that. That is very small percentage in your chart. Then the next thing that we're looking at is how the rest of the elements are balanced. So we have a look here in the balance and we see that you have too much earth in your chart and then the other elements are much less. So the element that is suffering most is the fire, but then the other elements are not that much either. So the earth is taking a very, very big proportion of your chart. And that is not great because in Chinese astrology, we need to have balance. So Chinese astrology is obsessed with balance. All of these Chinese exercises that they do, where they're moving their arms and legs in kind of very slowly, not like the way we do exercise in the West, but they do everything very slowly. All of that is designed to bring the body into balance, Tai Chi, all of those, and all of their martial arts. Everything is done. The way they move their body is to bring more balance to the body and to the mind. So when we see in Chinese astrology that something is out of balance, we make the assessment and we highlight it to the client. We're saying you have too much of the element earth in your chart. But this is only the beginning, and then the next thing we do, we say, well, what do we do about that? Well, the only way to remove this element earth, to reduce it, we need to know what elements are reducing the element earth. And the elements that are reducing the element earth are wood and metal. So to reduce the element earth, we need to increase these elements, wood and metal. And how do we do that? Again, we do that with the cycles. That is number one solution to every problem in the chart. We wait for the right cycle. So you're waiting. So we have identified now 3 good cycles for you. This is the fire cycle, and then the wood cycle, and then the metal cycle. They will be reducing the element earth. So the first solution is that. Solution number 2, mixing with those people who have these elements, the earth element and the metal element, because they will be reducing the earth as well. And solution number 3, using Feng Shui remedies that will provide wood and metal. They will be reducing the earth element in your chart. So that is another assessment we have done now. That is assessment number 2 by looking here at the spread of elements in your chart to see if they're well balanced or if we have too much of something or we have too little of something. So the fire is small, but the earth is too much, so that has to be reduced by these 3 elements. And that immediately now tells us you already now know what are the good elements for you. Fire is number 1 element, and then metal is number 2 element, and then wood is number 3 element that are good for you. Why don't we want to increase the water? Because water helps earth. Water nourishes the earth. Water helps the earth, and that's why we don't want to increase the water. So immediately then, these 2 elements become enemies in your chart. The earth because it's too much of it, and the water because the water facilitates the earth. So these become enemies. And in what way are they enemies? So they're enemies in terms of cycles. When we get an earth cycle or a water cycle, they become enemies to you. Second type of an enemy is from people. So water people and earth people become enemies to you as well. And the third type is Feng Shui. So water, for example, is the sea. The sea is not great for you. It doesn't do you good. The sea, right? Too much water around you, or lakes, sea, rivers, they're not great for you. They're They're not lucky for you. They don't strengthen you. They don't facilitate you. And then too much earth. So for example, properties are ruled by the planet Earth. They bring a very big weight on your shoulders. Properties. So some people benefit from properties. They make money from properties. In your case, you're throwing a lot of efforts into a property, and it's the opposite. Instead of you taking advantage of the property to make money, the property takes advantage of you, uses your energy, and it actually steals your money as well. So earth is not a lucky element for you. It becomes an enemy because it's way too much here. Okay, so we have established your lucky elements and unlucky elements just from that simple assessment there of the balance between the elements. And then there are other rules that we need to check in the chart. So the first rule is we need to understand who you are. We need to understand the day pillar because that is you. We need to understand what is the strength of the day pillar. So the day pillar is water, rabbit. This day pillar is a strong day pillar because water is needed for the wood to grow. Remember, rabbit is wood, right? It tells you something and you see the color. And water helps the wood to grow. So that is a good day master that you have. It's a strong day master. The wood element to you is called eating god. Eating god means that you will always have money to buy food and you will never be hungry, you'll never be homeless, you will never have those kind of very serious problems with money, right? Because your day master, so this box here that you see only the water here, only this box is called the day master, not the whole pillar. The whole pillar is called the day pillar. And here just this box is called the day master. So you are a yin water day master, also called Gui in Chinese. Your day master has a different relationship with every single type of element. All in all, there are 10 different relationships with the different elements because every single element has two versions, a male version or a female version. The male version is called yang. You can see here yang. And the female version is called yin. And then depending on the animal here, some animals are females, other animals are males. Depending on the animal, the element adopts the same gender. So the monkey is a male in Chinese astrology, and that is why the metal here becomes Geng, which is yang metal. The rabbit is female, and that is why the earth becomes in earth. And then the horse is male, and that is why the earth here becomes yang earth. So we have to examine the strength of the day master. Is the day master well supported here by the wood? And then what we do is here the system has already given us automatically that the day master is sitting on the eating god, and that means this day master likes to work. The day master is not lazy. The day master always works and is very creative. This day master is always looking for opportunities to make money. It has a head full of ideas to make money. It's very creative to think of different ideas to make money, and that is why this day master always makes money. So it's very important to make this assessment because earlier I said, according to the rule number 1, you don't have much fire in the chart. But now we're starting to examine other rules, and now it is emerging that you do have a capacity to make money, that you're a very creative thinker. Coming back here to your date of birth, the date of birth 31st of March, this date of birth shows very strong logical thinking. You have a talent to be a scientist, to work in the field of science, or to work with numbers, to work in accountancy, in finance, in banking. That is your talent. I hope you have found a profession in those fields because they're the right fields for you. We also look here at these numbers, and these numbers are showing that you do have the ability to make money. So there is nothing wrong in your date of birth. Your date of birth shows that you're number 7 as a presentation number, and the total number of your destiny is number 7. And number 7 again shows very strong logical thinking, very scientific thinking. So these are your talents. The field of science. You're very good at science, maths, everything. I hope you have had good teachers, because if a person doesn't have good teachers, even if they're naturally talented, they may not progress much. So, but if you have had good teachers in your life, then you will be very good at maths and science. You have very strong logical mind. And then what the date of birth here is showing is that you put too much focus on work and competence, developing skills, developing competencies. You're well educated. However, you're putting kind of the feelings a little bit on the back burner. So in terms of personality development, you will benefit to bring a bit more balance to this, to kind of give a bit more attention to your feelings as well. And I'll explain to you later why that is necessary. At the moment, we're just making one step at a time. We're making this assessment of your day master. So your day master is very creative thinker and makes fantastic opportunities. It can make money out of nothing. You come up with some really good ideas that don't require much investments of money, and you can make money out of that. So another strength of the day master is this gooey water. Gooey water is very small drops of water. The gooey water always penetrates everywhere. So the gooey water has friends from all walks of life, from very poor to very rich. And the gooey water is very good at networking. The gooey water is very skilled to make networks with people, the same as the rabbit. So I will show you here who you are. This is your chart. Okay, and now we're going to zoom in to see the visual representation of your day master, the gooey water. So this is the gooey water. Gooey means small water, the female version of the water, and these are very small drops of water. And then you are a rabbit. The symbol of the rabbit is small because the rabbit is feminine in Chinese astrology. So it's small plants, grass, small flowers, a meadow, right? So this is the rabbit. This picture shows us a combination of the rabbit and water. Water rabbit, what your day pillar is. Small flowers, grass, and everything is covered with dew, small drops of water in the morning. Why it is in the morning? Because the rabbit time frame, on hourly time frame, is 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. That is the rabbit time frame. Early morning at the sunrise. That is the rabbit time frame. And that is why we have a bit of sunshine here. Just a bit, because this is sunrise. So it is showing us that this is the symbol of your gooey Mao, water rabbit. So when we look at this picture, is there anyone in the world who would not like this picture? Everybody likes greenery, flowers, pretty flowers, and a bit of drops of dew on them. For that reason, the rabbit is considered the most popular animal in the Chinese zodiac. People are naturally gravitating towards you, and so much that they're actually disturbing you and you want some peace and quiet. People are always gravitating a lot towards you. People feel very attracted to you. because the rabbit has very high quality social skills, always nice, pleasant, with high quality interpersonal skills. Now, we look here on your date of birth, and we see here very high competence. I already reported to you that you have very strong logical mind. It is in your date of birth. Very strong skills to work in the field of science, and also you're very competent in life. You understand life quite well, you're very practical, you have very high practical skills, and guess why people are gravitating towards you? A, because the rabbit is very popular. I already showed you on the picture that everybody likes the rabbit. The rabbit is the most popular zodiac sign in the Chinese astrology. High quality networking skills, high quality social skills, social interaction. But also because you are very competent in life, so people need you either for advice or for your energy, and you need to be very careful, because the competent people very often tend to get used by others, and their energy can get drained. So you need to be very careful about double rabbit here in your chart, and that is why I'm emphasizing that. Don't get flattered that people are attracted to you, because people are always attracted where they can take something, right? They're not attracted where they know they're not gonna take something from there. People are always attracted to where they can take something, and you have a very big competence in life. You're a very highly competent person. I will cover a little bit the yearly time frame. The yearly time frame is just as good as the daily time frame. The pillars, I mean. And that is your career as well. So you need to really focus on the fact that you need to be very astute. You're at a very critical age right now. Age 45 is one of the most difficult years in a person's life. The person reaches a crash. It is a bottom in your life this year. The person crashes. And very often that happens because the person has not managed their life very well in terms of preserving their energy. They've given too much energy to useless, unrewarding people or career. Useless career, unrewarding career, where we have a career to use the career to make money. But very often what happens is the career uses the person, but they don't pay very much. And that is what I'm seeing here in your career pillar, because the earth element controls water. So earth is your enemy element. I've already established it from rule number 2 that I showed you there. You have too much earth in the chart. But in addition to that, there is another rule that the earth is your controlling element, the element that controls you, and that limits you. And unfortunately, that is the element of your career, which means that up until now, you have done various jobs that don't pay very good amount of money, but you have worked tremendously hard. And to me, it seems that you're a manager, because this female earth to you is something called the 7 killings, and normally this represents a leader. Right? So also there are several other indicators that you're a leader, and that you're probably managing people. You're a highly competent person. However, what this is the picture here that is telling me is that you're too competent and you're getting used by people. They're draining your energy, and you don't have time, because the rabbit is very helpful to everybody. The rabbit is very sweet and very pleasant to everybody. The rabbit sometimes forgets about themselves. They put themselves at the end, And in that way, they wake up one day and they completely drained of energy and they don't know why. So you will benefit to understand that being popular with people is not really that important in life. The most important in life, of course it is good because it keeps you have a big network of contacts, enormous network of contacts. That is the rabbit. The rabbit is very well connected with people. Everybody likes the rabbit. But you need to question how many of these people in that network that you have, how many of these people can actually help you to get you on a better job, or to help you with a business, to help you to increase your income. How many of those people can actually help you? So you really need to reflect very seriously on that. And then later on I will cover to you the strategy how we do that. So this is one of the problems that are emerging here in your chart, that you have a very high competence, but the money is missing. The fire, which represents the money for you, the money is not that much in the chart. So that is telling me that somebody is draining your energy, and these are various people who come to you for help, for advice. You're probably managing people. They're draining you of your energy, and you're not having enough time for yourself to decide what you're going to do with your career, and you ended up crashing. This year is a very difficult year for you. Age 45 is a disgusting year. Many people die in age 45. Many people commit suicide in age 45. It's a really disgusting year in a person's life. But it is a time. You've done the right thing with your husband that you approached me, and I will give you the best quality forecast and advice on the strategies that you will benefit to implement in your life in order to change your life and to bring more money in your life. And number one thing for you that is emerging here is that you have way too many people around you that are trying to use you. They're trying to use you for your energy. They could be family members. I'm not saying they're bad people, but I'm saying that you're giving way too much of your energy, and you need to draw some boundaries around you. And you need to say, I would like to help you, but I'm actually busy and I need to focus on my goals. And if I'm good to myself, I will be good to you too. I'll help you after that. So what is emerging here is that you already have a good job, because this is eating God twice. You got eating God here on your day pillar, and you have eating God here on the career pillar. That is telling us that you're probably working on a managerial role. Right. But it is a difficult role. It's not an easy role. It's draining you too much of your energy. Okay, so now we're gonna move. So we established that this day pillar here, this combination, the water rabbit, is exceptionally good combination. It is creative. You get brilliant ideas. You're not stupid. You're not talentless. You have fantastic ideas for businesses. But what you haven't had so far is the time to actually sit down and implement them, because you've been getting drained of your energy. Okay, so you really need the time to sit down and implement your ideas to make business, because you're a highly competent person. Very rarely I see the chart of someone who is just, this date of birth here is highly competent, very precise. You work in a very precise way, and you have very good skills to be an accountant and to work in finance, or anything else that involves maths and calculations. There are other professions that involve maths and calculations. And then I'm moving here now to your yearly pillar, which is the metal monkey. So again, we need to examine the strength of the metal monkey, right? So what do we have here is we have earth. Earth is the support element of the monkey. I will show you in a minute how we understand the elements. Let me just show you the rules between the elements. We have 5 elements in Chinese astrology, and this cycle that you see here, the circle, is called the cycle of support. Okay, so you as a metal monkey, you are supported by earth. So earth supports metal, metal supports water, water supports wood, wood supports fire, and fire supports earth. That's the cycle of support. And then the money making cycle is with the red arrow. So whichever element is stronger, they make money from the weaker element. So metal is stronger than wood because metal is sharp. It can be like a knife or an axe, and that can chop up the wood. So when you bring these two elements together, the winner will always be the metal. That is why we say metal makes money from wood, because metal controls wood and metal exploits wood. So metal makes money from wood. Wood makes money from earth. Earth makes money from water. Water makes money from fire. And fire makes money from metal. So remember rule number 1, I said you need more fire because you don't have it enough in your chart. That's a separate rule. But look what is emerging now, because your day pillar is water, right? Which is you. Your day master is gooey water. The female water, right? Your wealth element is fire. So that emphasizes it even more that you need more fire, because fire is your wealth element. And on a yearly time frame, your wealth element is wood, because metal makes money from wood. Okay, so we come back here to your chart. And we continue with the assessment of the yearly pillar. So earth supports metal, I just showed you on the picture. And then earth produces metal. So let's come back to the picture for you to understand this cycle. So I said earth supports metal, right? And we also call it earth produces metal. These are the equivalent. It's the equivalent. Supports, produces is the same thing in Chinese astrology. Right? So you as water, you produce wood. You generate wood, because wood without water, it will not grow very much. It will die. So that is why we say that water produces wood. Water supports wood, water produces wood. Because water makes it possible for the wood to grow. Wood makes it possible for the fire to grow. Fire makes it possible for the earth to grow. If you may know that in the core of the earth, of the planet Earth, there is fire there. The core of the planet is hot lava, very hot. So it's fire. And then earth supports metal. As you may know, all metals are in the earth. That's where they develop into metals. Okay, so that is why I said earlier when I was assessing the rabbit, I said wood is eating God to you, because you produce wood. You as a day pillar, as a day master water, you produce wood. So wood immediately becomes eating God for you. But remember that every single one of these elements, so there are 5 elements, right? Every single one of those 5 elements has 2 genders, male and female. So eating God is when it is the same gender. So your gender is female, the rabbit is female, and that is why the eating God is female wood, which you have. But if the wood was a male wood, that will be a different relationship to you. It will not be eating God. It's called a hurting officer, and it's not that great. That is why later on in the chart, you will see that the male wood is colored in red color in the cycles. But the female wood is eating God, that is colored in green color for you in the cycles. Okay, so now we're assessing, we're coming back now to continue with the assessment of the monkey pillar. So earth produces metal and metal produces water. So what did we say earlier? We said that water is your enemy element, right? Because water strengthens earth and you have too much earth in the chart. So water becomes an enemy element, and also our own element very often is an enemy element. Very often. Not always, but most of the time. So what happens here, we see this metal is very pragmatic and understands money, understands finance, and works very precisely in life. It understands investments, is very clever, metal element, right? So you have a double metal here and metal here in the animal. The monkey is metal, and on top of that it is metal above here in the heavenly stem. It is sitting on the earth element, which means very well supported. You come from a good family and your family educated you well. So this is your support element here, right? On nearly pillar. It is an enemy here in the career pillar. It is an enemy to you. But here it's not an enemy. Here it is a support is a support element to this setup here, to the metal monkey. And then you have metal, sharpness, intellect. That's what metal means. And then you have water. So the only problem here with this setup is the water. It's not complete problem, because metal by itself, if it doesn't have any water, for example, the rooster is like that. The rooster doesn't have any water. It's very pragmatic. It's like doesn't have any flexibility as well. It's kind of very rigid. It's not very flexible, whereas water is the most flexible element out of all of the elements. So this water here, it brings you flexibility, it brings you alternative solutions. You're very good to think about alternative solutions to your problems. You're a great thinker. Everything here of your chart is shouting that you're smart and very good thinker. So the water is very thinking and very creative. So you have creativity here and creativity here. Creative thinker, always finding alternative solutions, always penetrating areas where it wants to go. You know, the water is unstoppable. If you spill water somewhere, it will go through all the holes on the floor. It will go everywhere, and that is how water is. Water is also rebellious and freedom-loving. You cannot stop water. Water goes wherever it wants to go. So that is another element to your personality, that you have an element of rebelliousness about you and freedom loving, right? But on the other hand, you also like stability, the home, the house. You don't really like to lose that. So there is always contradiction within the monkey. On one hand, it likes stability, and on the other hand, it likes to be rebellious. It likes to do unpredictable things. It likes to travel. So this is creating a little bit of an anxiety in you. Water by itself, it means anxiety. The water element brings worries, fears, and anxiety. So because you have water here and water here, that means that you may experience mental health problems in the sense of worries. You're worrying about things. And one of the reasons why you're worrying about things is because there is not a sense of help here, that you're receiving much help. You have received support from your family. Your family have educated you well. You're well educated, because the support element is telling us. So what is the support element of the water? The support element of the water is metal, isn't it? Look how much metal you have. So that is saying that your day pillar, that your day master is very well supported by your family, by your ancestors. They have given you good education and they have looked after you well. And maybe even you have inherited a house from them or something like that. Maybe they even bought your house. Your family are not poor people. They have helped you quite very much in your life, with money or with property, or maybe with both. Right? And then the support element of the metal is earth, and again it tells that your parents were very supportive, and hopefully they still are very supportive towards you. With whatever they can, they help you and they support you. However, I already identified earlier that there is a drainage of energy here, and the drainage of energy comes here from the 7 killings. Because you have too much earth. You really didn't need that earth here in your career pillar. Earth somewhere else is good, but not here in your career pillar, because earth makes money from water. Remember I showed you that? So let me come back to that. 1 second. Do you remember the graph that I showed you, the picture? Just 1 second, I don't understand why this is so slow. Here it is. So earth exploits water. So be careful to the language that I'm using. Earth exploits water. Water doesn't exploit earth. So you benefit to have your career with a fire element, so you can exploit your career and make money from it. But in your case, it is the career that is exploiting you. And the property, as I said earlier, earth represents properties and hotels. Properties, hotels, land, they're exploiting you instead of you exploiting them. So just want to make it clear that properties are not very lucky for you. Like maybe have one property, of course, where you live, but then if you have more properties with the intention to make business from more properties, unfortunately the earth element is not a lucky element for you. And it will just be exploiting you. You'll be throwing a lot of money in those properties, and they're not going to be generating the sufficient income for you. It's simply not a lucky element for you, earth. Okay, so what I was talking about is that you have received good support from your parents, good education from your parents, you're very knowledgeable. This gooey water here is obsessed with knowledge. It's like a sponge. It just looks around, it's curious, and it just acquires new information and new knowledge all the time. It learns very quickly, and it learns very well in depth, not just superficially. The gooey water element, right, which is you. So everything is good apart from having this abusive career that is abusing you. The career is abusing you like it is a proper drainage of your energy and not paying you very much. So that is why I said in the beginning that you need to increase the fire element, the metal element, and the wood element in your chart by the cycles and by the people in order to reduce the element earth in your chart, in order to minimize the negative impact of this here, right? And change the career. If the career is abusing you, I have had other clients who have this setup in their career and then they give up the job and they start a business and they're much better in business. You have a very strong head for business. You are destined to be competent to work and to do business. This is like super competent date of birth and combination here. So do not allow to be used for your energy for other people's gains. Use your energy for your own gain. You have the creativity and the intelligence within you to come up with a fantastic idea for making money. So you just have to give yourself the time to do it. Let me show you the picture of the metal monkey for you so I can highlight In Chinese astrology, we always look at the pictures. We have metaphors, visual representations of the personality. And in that way, the person understands better who they are, what are their strengths, and what are their weaknesses. So monkey is a metal, right? And in addition to that, you're a metal monkey. So monkey is a male animal, and that is why the male animal is always a mountain in Chinese astrology. Surrounded by water because you have 30% water in the monkey. If you remember, I showed you the water means good things or bad things. On the bad side, it means fear and anxiety and kind of nervousness. And on the positive side, it means flexible thinking. It's much more flexible than the rooster. It's still very pragmatic and very competent, but it's a lot more flexible and understanding than the rooster. And also communication. You're very good at communicating with people and building networks of support and exchanging information with people. You just need to be very careful in those networks. Are they equal, those networks? Like if you help somebody in that network, are these people helping you back with something, or they're just taking your competence without rewarding you back? So that is very important to establish in your life. Equality of energy distribution. Who gives what? It needs to be equal between you and the other people. So this is the monkey. This is a mountain of metal. It has water and it has earth, because I showed you monkey is built of 30% earth, right? 30% water and 30% metal. And as a whole, the monkey is a metal animal. So why do we have the sun here? Because we say that metal needs fire to shape it into a useful tool. We also have the sun here because we already established that fire is your wealth element, and the wealth element is represented by the sun. That is the most common representation of the sun. So talking about useful holidays that will increase your strength, definitely under the sun. The sun is fantastic for you. Really, really good. This is supposed to be a sunset sun because the monkey represents the southwest sector of the sky when the sun begins to set. So that is why I have given it a red glow here to show you that this is a sunset time at the southwest, just before sunset, when it begins to become red. Okay, so you need to reflect on this. What is the monkey? What is the strength? And what is the weaknesses? The strength, super smart, sharp, strong talent, strong skills. And the weakness is having this, the water provides kind of fears and anxieties to the monkey, and also argumentativeness. Now, what also means arguments, unfortunately, especially when the GUI day master is tired. I'm a GUI day master, by the way, so I know the GUI day master very, very well. Right? This is your GUI day master. When the GUI day master is tired and exhausted and drained, and the way it works, we allow other people to use us, and then after that, we feel drained, and then we start shouting and arguing with people, and then we're the ones that look bad, and people look good. And actually, the problem is that when giving away our energy too much, we need to preserve our energy better, and in that way, we should never allow to be tired. Or when we're tired, everybody gets tired. That's normal and it's human. When we're tired, we take the time for ourselves. And that is a fundamental problem with the GUI water, is that when we're tired, we just keep going. We keep going until we get proper drained. And then when we get drained, we get very angry and we start shouting and arguing with people. That is the gooey water, and that is the monkey as well. Believe it or not, I'm a monkey by Yelly Pillar and I'm a gooey water by Daymaster. So I understand you quite well. Okay, so that is one weakness of the water, is that it creates, it's difficult to put borders on the water and to control the water. We allow people to trespass our boundaries because the water is unlimited. We kind of flow, and we give. And then at one point we get very drained, and then we get very angry when we get drained. Another problem in your child particularly is that you don't communicate when you're feeling tired and when you're unwell emotionally. You keep that to yourself. You're not, you have that very strong professional front and appearance. This is in your date of birth. You always have to look professional, you always look very sharp and on top of your game and in control of everything. But underneath, nobody knows your feelings. You're not expressing your feelings, and you're creating problems in that way between you and other people around you. Other people are human. They will understand if you open your mouth and you share your problems with the other person like a normal human being. But you, as a number 7, you're not a normal human being. Number 7 is a bit like an alien in the sense that they just too committed to being professional, kind of obsessed with being in control, working very hard. Number 7 is the hardest workers in the whole zodiac, in the whole from 1 to 9 in numerology. The whole cycle is from 1 to 9. Number 7 are the hardest workers. They just work. They bottle their emotions, and then they get very unwell in that way. You need to be very careful, because if you continue to do that, you will end up getting an illness. I know people like that who worked. When a person is a very hard worker, you need to understand that other people will take advantage of them. I have family members like that. And then who will get ill? The person who works the hardest, they will get ill. And then once a person gets ill, it will be very difficult to come back to normal. That is why it's better not to get ill. It's better to protect and prevent. And the secret to protecting and preventing from getting ill is to work hard without draining your energy, because if I tell you don't work so hard, that will not happen. I know you will continue working hard because that is encoded in your date of birth, unfortunately. You were just born to work very hard. Number 7 is obsessed with career, obsessed with work. So if you want to work. But then don't allow other people to drain your energy, and don't allow other people to drain your finances. Do something with that money. Either invest it very well, or for yourself and for your family. Either invest it very well, or whatever it takes there to make you happy. Number 7 has to live in nature. If number 7 doesn't live in nature, but it lives in a city, number 7 will get ill and they will die young. I'm telling you very seriously. It's very important. Whatever money you make, get a little house in the countryside. That is why I have given you this picture here. You need to get a little house in the countryside to live in nature. I don't understand why my computer is so slow. So let me just come back to the right picture. Okay, so I have given you the best place where you can live in order to strengthen yourself and to live a long and happy life. This is your place. What is this picture representing here? All of this greenery with these small flowers, what do they represent? The rabbit. This is the metaphor of the rabbit. Early morning sun, lots of greenery, and small plants, small pretty plants. That is the rabbit. The big trees are not the rabbit, that is the tiger, which is the big trees represent the male version of the element wood. The female version of the element wood is the small plants, that is you. Right? And you need to live in nature. You need to do everything possible to make the money to find a nice place like this, which is in the countryside, in order to strengthen your soul and body. Number 7, people cannot live in the city. They need to live in nature. And I know people who didn't do that, despite having money to do that, because they had to help other family members and this and that, and then they put themselves last, and at the end they died. So Chinese astrology is very brutally honest. We're brutally honest with people. Right. So let me just do a bit of light-hearted things, just to mix it a little bit. I like mixing a bit of seriousness with a bit of light, right? So we established that fire is your wealth element, and therefore your luckiest color is red. And you will benefit. These are Feng Shui remedies. They're not just fancy things. They're Feng Shui remedies. All of these things need to be red. Your phone cover, your wallet, your bag. You need to wear red accessories, red shoes, red glasses if you wear glasses, red lipstick. This is proper Feng Shui remedies to strengthen the fire element in your chart because you don't have enough of it. Dining table at home, it has to be in red colors with a red carpet underneath. It has to look like it belongs to a rich person. I don't know how much these chairs cost in your country. In UK you can order a chair like this. They make them. We have companies who make these chairs by order. You just give them the design and they'll make it for you. They charge around £400 per chair, which is not that much. The chairs in your dining room, they need to look proper, like they belong to a rich person, and you need to have your lucky color red. Your wealth color needs to be on the table. The table design needs to be in your wealth color. I haven't had time to check Stephen. I forgot Stephen's chart. What he was his lucky color. So if his has a different lucky color to yours, then you can change them. Like 1 week it can be your red, another week can be his lucky color, right? So these are the lucky combinations for you. Red velvet chairs with proper backs. Never sit on a chair that doesn't have a back. The back has to be very strong. And then you need to have a red carpet. In my house, I put this sofa, a red sofa. You see this on the background, because we like in my family to sit on a sofa when we're dining, and I have a square table, and it really works. The kitchen is very important in Chinese, in Feng Shui. It's the most important room. Everything is important, but the kitchen is super important. And then for your bedroom, you need to have red lights. They're very calming, they're good for the skin, and they're your wealth element. So during the night when you're comforting yourself to fall asleep, you benefit to have these red lights on the wall, or just simple red lights here on each side, and they're very beneficial to increase your income. I have been practicing this for many decades. I have also very small percentage of my wealth element. I have 8% of fire in my chart, and through these remedies I have a decent income. You know, I'm not poor, I'm not rich, but I'm definitely not poor. So you can increase. These are real feng shui remedies that work. These systems, the basis system and the feng shui system, they're very old systems. They're not something that has been made yesterday, and they have survived for so many centuries because they work. Okay, another thing that wanted to show you is because red is your wealth element, these are the designs for you. A red accessory, red bag, red lipstick is very auspicious for you. You try, put red lipstick, and you'll see on that day you'll make more money. Just a simple red lipstick will help you to make more money. Red nails, a red hat, red glasses, red shoes, red bag. And also metal is a lucky element for you, because metal makes the metal exhausts the earth. Let me just show you here on the chart. Remember, I said that earth is enemy number one for you because it's way too much in your chart. So when you give too much metal to the earth, we say metal exhausts the earth, because the earth will be working for that metal to support it, right? The earth has to support the metal. So if you keep increasing the metal here, you keep increasing it, the earth will be exhausted. So in that way you're reducing it. Another word for this is metal reduces earth. So that is why metal is another element for you that is very good. I said it from the beginning that you need to increase metal in your chart, but I didn't explain why, and now I'm explaining why that is. Because metal reduces earth, because the earth, the more metal you're adding, the more the earth has to support that metal, because this cycle is sacred, it does not change. The earth will have to support that extra metal, extra metal, extra metal, and in that way it reduces it. Like a mom, if a mom has more kids, she loses weight running around after all of those kids. The kids reduce the mom's weight. So that is why I have also added here to your chart that if you add metal in your accessories, first of all, every element has a color, right? So fire, for the fire element, the color is red. And then for the metal element, the color is metal, cream, and white. These are all under the metal element. So that is why you benefit to wear metallic clothes or metallic accessories, like chains. You see here there is a chain on this bag. There is a metallic accessory here, if you can see. Here it is, other variations. You know, jewelry is made of metal. So lots of red clothes every day, shoes, clothes, even hair or hats, bags, everything has to be red. And if it is metallic red, even better. So here I have given you examples of jewelry that you need to wear. So you need to be covered in jewelry, because the jewelry will be reducing, that is the element metal, and that will be reducing the earth in your chart, the one that I said is way too much in your chart. The metal will be reducing it. gold, silver, platinum, whatever you like. You need to wear jewelry. Okay, so I'm going to restart my computer because it's quite slow, and also the video is becoming too long, and then in the next video we will continue. Bye for now.